Humankind Game has received a lot of changes over the last few days, and as you load in, you may notice many different things, including, of course, the fact that these wonderfully powerful new cultures, this one in particular, launched as part of the Cultures of Africa DLC pack, a paid DLC expansion, bringing 6 new cultures and a variety of other small things. But also we received a free patch update that changed a lot, including, for example, no longer is a turn limit implied as an end condition in a default game. Also a free Great Wonder, the Great Zimbabwe, accompanied the Great Mosque for any player to download and enjoy, and of course, the Endless mod as well, with new events, gameplay features, and all sorts of fun stuff. I was playing with it live on stream today, and changes to the way AI behaves, and also some of the user interfaces. You'll notice changes here to the trade menu, so it's much more obvious what you're getting out of your resources when you trade for them, and also some other UI changes and adjustments to the overall player experience, from everything from wonders that you're seeing here through to city management. And, as I say, a whole load of fixes and adjustments to the way that the AI behaves, and I think we need to delve into those as well. So please, sit back, relax, enjoy some footage that I'm overlaying over the top, like this event here from the Endless Universe mod, the official mod released by Amplitude Studios. More on that a little bit later in the video, and some fresh, spicy gameplay in the background for you. Now, let's talk the changes. First up, the big one, obviously we had the addition of the Cultures of Africa pack. If you don't know, or you're under a rock, it was a paid DLC, 6 new cultures, natural and built wonders, 7 independent people, and 15 narrative events is what it brought for around $10 US. Now, on to the more important thing though. Along with it, we received a patch, 1.0.7 something or other, the Allen Newell version. It released on Friday the 21st of January, so I'm a couple of days back on this, but it has given me some time to test it. Changes and additions. The main ones are, firstly, as I mentioned, the Great Zimbabwe Wonder has been added. You can get it by going onto the Games Together website and syncing your Games Together account with your Steam account or what have you. You can download it for free. It's a free gift there, and I would really recommend it. I mean, why not? Also, they've added, and this one is quite cool, take a look at this, specific movies when discovering certain scientific technologies. Here's one, for example, the narrator will talk along, you can see it's animated really beautifully, the art style, of course, reflective of Humankind's general aesthetic, very good looking, I believe. Yeah, and you get them for certain technologies. It's another one of those things that helps to create the overall game experience, I think, in the same way that, say, a game like Civilization 6, during gameplay, plays those little movies when you build a wonder, right? It's kind of like that. So a really nice touch and helps to build the world. We also received a new window at launch, and as I said at the start of the video, they removed the turn limit condition from default, last human standing, and the space race endgame conditions. So when you're setting up your game, no longer on default will turn limit be a condition to end the game. I think that's a good move. Moreover, as well as we talked about before, this wonderful overview of the trade system. It's pretty good, but it's important to note that the system itself hasn't actually changed. It's sort of just a UI overview or change, a facelift. Take a look, here it is. Basically, when you're purchasing a resource, you actually get a really clear upfront of what it's going to do, so you don't just sort of awkwardly hover over something and try and figure out what it's going to do and how much it's going to cost you. It's nice, it's upfront, and it's clear, and I think that is absolutely the way it should be. It was also reflected on the map now a little bit better. Resources actually on the map, like you can see there, have a little border around them when they've been improved, and a little coin above them if they can be purchased. So you don't just have to jump in through this menu, it's now a little bit more easier to interact with it from the map as well. However, as I say, we could always do those map interactions. It hasn't really changed, it's just been given a little bit of a facelift. I think a facelift upwards and in the right direction. The other big change and addition, and I can't show you it necessarily, although you will see it and you will have already seen it in this gameplay, particularly when I'm fighting the AI. A huge number of changes have been rolled out across the AI. I won't spend too long on each and every one, but listen to this. Amplitude have improved the way the AI handles the following: bombardment management, military objectives, competitive deeds, those tasks like being the first to discover writing or conquering the continent. It handled the way it escorts embarked armies, probably a good idea. Garrisons, civic and culture choices. They've also improved the way that units that cannot climb fortifications handle an assault. That's really important because what we often saw was horses would run up to a wall and then just sit there and do nothing and be fired at by ranged units. So that's a big deal if that's working as intended. And lastly, the way the AI handles the siege sortie. They do love to run out and fight you for no reason. I'll need to test that a little bit more. As you can see in this gameplay, they do still seem forward aggressive, and they don't seem to actually be capitalizing on the terrain. I was still able to outclass the AI very easily, so we'll have to watch this space. It is, of course, very difficult to program a human mind, so we need to handle AI, I think, with a little bit of a pragmatic attitude around that as well. Now, those are the big upfront changes. However, don't click away just yet, because actually there was a lot more buried into this patch. I'd like to draw on some of the important fixes. There were a huge raft of fixes, from the tutorial to audios, the map editor, modding, achievements, a couple of small improvements around those latter three, to be honest. Not huge additions, but really what we saw was a significant improvement to the UI and fixing a whole load of UI issues. A few different ones that I'd ran into that had been fixed that you may have also been frustrated with. There was an issue where AI randomized buttons weren't working properly. Placeholder values during battles were either wrong or in displaying incorrectly. Loads of things like that have been tweaked up. But more importantly, I think we should focus on what they've labeled as the, quote, important fixes. Because outside of those little ones that I just talked about, this is really where the money is made. And then we'll talk about the Endless mod. Amazing, and also reflect just a little bit on the Cultures of Africa wider changes too. So, the important changes that they highlighted, or at least the ones that really stuck out to me, firstly, they fixed the situation where if you were in a naval battle between two different clients, as they're calling it, you no longer get stuck. That one I ran into quite a bit. Errors and desync around multiplayer as well. Notably, a few improvements here to multiplayer. Another one fixed an issue where a stuck situation occurred while performing a manual battle in multiplayer. Something else that I'd ran into, actually. So loads of important fixes around desyncing and loads of specific conditions and multiplayer mentions there as well, which I think is a good sign of things to come. Speaking of a good sign of things to come, let's now transition through in the last part of this video and talk about the Endless mod. Now, I showed you a couple of events at the start. If you didn't see them, this is the kind of thing that the mod adds. Alongside a whole other raft of things I should note, it does add a lot of really cool events. And I know what you're thinking, events boring, but these ones are really great. Essentially, it tells a story of the endless universe. These people who were here before us, we don't know what they are, we're sort of worshipping them or what have you, and then they turn up. It's a great narrative that plays out throughout the game, and it's a really interesting one because it takes advantage of mechanics that we haven't seen before. Events that add things to our holy sites or reward us for giving them access to do some research, whatever it might be. They're very cool, varied events, and that's just the tip of the iceberg for the mod. In fact, and I do have to test it a bit more, which I'll be doing live on stream on my Twitch, shout out to my Twitch, very soon, later this week, most likely. The reason why I want to test it a little bit more is because I have a theory that it could almost be so good that you might want to play with it every time, just because of the uniqueness that it adds to the game. However, will it lose playability or replayability over time? Maybe. The jury is out. We'll have to monitor that closely and carefully. A couple of other things that were changed in this patch that I thought you might like to know. There are a couple of major fixes, one in particular around the Soviet culture, which I know is a fan favorite among many of us. Fixed an issue where we could construct arms factory emblematic strategic resources on tiles, generating errors. Good to see that tidy up. And also, there was an issue where the AI can buy Soviet arms luxuries at no cost. Yikes. So just a few tweaks around the edges. No substantial content updates outside of that for this update or for the Cultures of Africa DLC. However, I do think it's a pretty good DLC pack, and I'm excited to see where they take it in future. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.